Most people expect every new flagship to push specs higher across the board, but with the OnePlus 15, that's not the full story. Yes, the display is getting faster and brighter, but it's also taking a step back in a way OnePlus conveniently isn't talking about. OnePlus is hyping up its upcoming flagship as one of the first globally available phones with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip, but right now it's heavily focused on the display, and for good reason. The company has confirmed a 165Hz refresh rate, which puts it ahead of most mainstream flagships that still stick to 120Hz. That instantly sounds like an upgrade, and technically it is. A higher refresh rate means smoother animations, more fluid scrolling, and an edge in gaming where every frame matters. For people who care about responsiveness, that number alone is going to grab attention. They're also switching to a panel made by BOE, and OnePlus claims it hits 13% higher peak brightness compared to the OnePlus 13. That means better visibility under harsh sunlight and a cleaner HDR experience when watching content. Despite that brightness boost, the company says the display consumes 10% less power and lasts 30% longer over time. So on paper, you're getting a screen that's brighter, more efficient, and more durable, basically everything you want to hear before a launch. As usual, OnePlus is bringing in a dedicated display processing chip, but this time they're borrowing directly from Oppo. Oppo Display P3 coprocessor promises faster frame rendering, improved color accuracy, and stable brightness control. That's the kind of behind-the-scenes hardware most users don't talk about, but it actually affects how smooth and consistent a display feels beyond just the refresh rate number. Visually, the hardware should look cleaner too. The bezels are getting slimmer, just 1.15 millimeters on all four sides. That's even narrower than the OnePlus 13T and hints at a more immersive front design with almost no border. They're also pushing brightness control further by allowing the screen to drop all the way down to 1 nit. That's extremely dim, making the phone more comfortable to use at night without blasting your eyes with light, something a lot of flagship displays surprisingly still don't handle well. But here's what OnePlus isn't highlighting. Not every change is actually an upgrade. The resolution is reportedly dropping from 2K to 1.5K. On a spec sheet, that's going to look like a downgrade, because technically it is. And if you love quoting pixel density numbers and arguments, that's ammunition lost. The screen is also shrinking slightly to 6.78 inches. It's not a massive reduction, but it signals a shift in priorities. The interesting part is whether those downgrades truly matter in real-world use. A 1.5K resolution on a sub-7-inch screen still looks sharp to the eye. At normal viewing distances, the difference between 1.5K and 2K is barely noticeable unless you're deliberately looking for it. What you do notice, though, is battery life, and that's where the trade-off makes sense. With a lower resolution and more efficient panel, combined with a rumored 7,000 mAh battery and 120-watt charging, the OnePlus 15 starts looking less like a spec-chasing phone and more like a device built for endurance without sacrificing responsiveness. It's also clear OnePlus is positioning this phone not just against its usual Android rivals, but directly against heavy hitters like the Galaxy S26 series and the iPhone 17 Pro. A 50-megapixel telephoto lens, that massive battery, and the power of Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 form a strong core. The display, even with its resolution drop, still has enough premium features to compete. High refresh, better brightness, slim bezels, and dedicated processing all make for tangible user experience gains. The reality is, smartphone displays have reached a point where raw pixel count isn't the only measure of quality. Smoothness, consistency, power efficiency, comfort in low light, and sustained brightness all contribute just as much, if not more, to how premium a screen feels in daily use. OnePlus seems to be betting that most users would rather have a screen that looks great, runs efficiently, and doesn't kill the battery by evening, even if that means stepping back from a resolution spec they can brag about. So while the marketing is focusing on the exciting numbers and glossing over the compromises, the overall direction still makes sense. It's not about winning a pixel war anymore. It's about building a display that complements performance, battery, and everyday usability. Personally, I'd take a slightly lower resolution for an extra boost in endurance and smoother performance any day. The OnePlus 15 seems to understand that, even if OnePlus themselves won't spell it out that way. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. See you in the next video. Take care.